Welcome back to another episode of the Upcountry Lacrosse podcast. I am Kyle Fletcher with Upcountry Lacrosse. Here with me today, I have Coleman Playstead from Lowcountry Lacrosse, LowLax here in Greenville. And we are going to be previewing all things boys high school lacrosse 2026. I'm kind of excited. I know you're kind of excited. We've got
I got enough paperwork.
We've got
some fun.
Numbers, a lot of decimal points, some spreadsheets going on. We've got numbers. We've got maybe not breaking news, but some news here and there to talk about. So let's just dive right into it, Coleman. I'm excited.
Let's do it. Let's make some questionable takes.
All right, questionable takes. What else? You know what? Just another day in the life. I like it. Let's go about it.
Let's do it.
Jumping right into what's to come in the new 2026 year, let's just start off with coaches. The first thing I've got on my list here, talk about coaching changes in the Upstate. Off the top of my head, I know of two, and that would be at Hillcrest High School. We have a new coach, Jackson Braswell, is coming in. I know Jackson played high school at Eastside. I know he then went to Limestone and played a couple of years. I know he went to Catawba and finished up his career there. Let's stop and talk about Hillcrest for just a second. I'm excited for Jackson. I've gotten to know him a little bit through coaching. What was Invaders is now going to be the Upstate Sonics. Jackson's a great dude. He's played the game for a long time. He seems passionate. He knows that he's fighting an uphill battle at Hillcrest, and he's excited for that uphill battle. And I think that will bleed over into the kids.
No, I think this is what Hillcrest needs. Young coach, passionate. Pretty sure he's in the school working as well. Which is a huge plus, just to have your coach inside school during hours.
It is. It helps a lot.
But no, I think that's going to be what they need. Unfortunately, they've had a coaching carousel for the last couple of years,
Yep.
and call it negligence, call it just not knowing how to do the job. But especially even last year, they had a pretty strong team, and just they didn't even have enough games to go to the playoffs if they won them.
Sure.
So. That I'm hoping, him coming in, create some structure. They did have a good amount of transfers, I've heard.
Yeah, we can talk about that too in a minute. We'll get there.
But he's also had some kids move in from the area,
Yep,
from different areas, and I think he's got a strong basis. So I think it's what Hillcrest needs.
I think they're going to be in that perpetual rebuild year this year, but if they can convince Coach Braswell to stay long enough, I think he's got a lot of promise behind him, and I think his excitement will hopefully help build a program there at Hillcrest. And then the other head coach changing that I'm aware of is actually yourself, no longer at Woodmont High School. I'll let you talk about yourself and the change at Woodmont.
Yeah, so I love my time at Woodmont. That's I basically started that program over.
Sure. Yeah, that's fair.
Kind of like same thing what Jackson's kind of putting himself through right now. And it's an uphill battle, but there's nothing that can replace the last 4 years. Those kids, coach a lot of them still with Sonics, and
Yep.
That's something that luckily I still get to have a hand in their lives and get to have some fun. Coaching, getting them up, getting them going. Once again, getting them watch score, club games, things like that. So still get to be a part of the development, which is huge. But yeah, so they've had some new coaches step in. My dad has taken over as the director of lacrosse over there.
Saw that.
It's just going to allow them to kind of set a guy up that's stepping in, Liam Stone. He'll be mostly running the varsity this year and kind of overseeing the job, but he's going to be kind of in line to take that position, that head coaching position. Once again, super excited for him. Was able to go out to a few practices in the fall, and they got enough for a C team. They had 60, 65 kids out in a fall practice. So,
Beautiful.
As much as I like to pat myself on the back for things I've done for them, we never had 65 guys at a fall practice. So, my hat's off to Liam and what my dad have done over there, just creating that family just more tight-knit. So, yeah, I think that's really all it is. And while, they're kind of on a rebuild, themselves with the coaching staff, I think they got a strong core, and, I think they have the potential to win some good games this year.
I've am on board with that Woodmont train. I know that they've had a lot of guys buy in, and you didn't want to pat yourself on the back. I'll pat you on the back for a second. It's tough to get kids to buy in. It's tough to get guys, young men, to really believe and really actually, try.
Yeah.
Trying is effort. For the young men watching at home, attitude and effort are the two biggest things you can control. And as a coach, as coaches, that's one thing we're always watching. And credit to you for building that to a point where you've got 60 kids showing up in the off season for practice. That's phenomenal.
Makes me happy.
That makes me happy too. So the question is which coaching changes do you think will have the biggest impact on the upcoming season? And there's a lot of. I think every year we see a lot of assistant coach comings and goings. People, guys move. They start families. They just relocate, whatever it might be. And so we see a lot of assistant coach changing. So we don't have to dive into that too much. But the question was, which coaching move or change do you think will have the biggest impact? And like I said, I love Coach Braswell at Hillcrest. I think he's doing big things too. I've seen some of their social media posts on Instagram. They've got some guys showing up for their fall practices, and it looks like they're putting in the hard work, which you love to see. But listening to you now, it sounds like the guys at Woodmont are poised to hopefully come out of their shell a little bit more this year and continue that continued growth that we've seen the last couple of years.
I would say is a bigger impact. I'd have to give it to Hillcrest with Jackson. I think structure is just something Hillcrest unfortunately hasn't had in a long time.
It's been a while.
And there's a lot of people who will, they may argue against it, but unfortunately that's what I've seen as a competitor. It starts with your coaching staff. And I think that's a huge thing. And to get a guy who not only knows the game, has played the game, played at a really, high-end school like Limestone, RIP. But no, I think that's going to have the biggest impact. I think me and my dad created a good culture over the last few years, and I think Liam's going to do a great job of continuing that culture. So I would say ours is more of a gradual growth, whereas I think, what I've seen Jackson, especially on Instagram, seeing the stuff for the team, seeing the posts, seeing the like them doing their fall turkey bowl. That's something I've never seen out of Hillcrest in my entire time coaching in the Upstate. So to see them actually act like a lacrosse team, and to see them, behaving as, I would say normal, instead of being a ghost until you have to play them.
Sure.
I think that's huge. I think so. I'm going to give it to him.
I like it. Let's go with that. Hillcrest, Woodmont, we're watching you guys. We're proud of you guys. We're excited to see what's coming next. Moving right along past the coaching segment, I'm gonna shift things around on you. We're gonna keep things fluid. We're gonna keep things moving. Let's look ahead to what's going to be on the field. Coaches will be on the sideline. I want to talk about what's going to be on the field.
Love it.
Let's start with who's not going to be on the field. So every team loses a lot every year to graduation, whether it's a on the field impact player. A lot of guys are impact players in the locker room. It takes a special individual to know timing of when to cut the tension, how to cut the tension, how to motivate, when to motivate. And there's very much a role for that, and those guys aren't always on the field producers, and that's something that I love about sports in general. But looking at the guys that were on the field producers, looking at the programs that lost a lot, let's talk about that. Let's dive in. Let's talk about that.
Get my sheets out. Here we go.
Get your sheets out. We can start with biggest graduating losses. If we want to talk about teams that had big classes and who's missing, who has the biggest hole in their team.
So I would say it'd have to probably depend on the position, if we're going to be completely honest. You look at teams, I would say smaller roster programs, like your Eastsides and a few of those teams, obviously losing Kai Smith is huge, second in points in the state.
If you look at their team numbers, which I know you are, if you haven't already, their team numbers, they graduated, I think, 3 of their top 4 offensive producers.
I think Eastside's a big one. Excuse me.
Shout out Sam Henson, the other guy.
I think another one, especially from the offensive standpoint, is Malden. They got Gavin Levine coming back, but
Daniel Poe, man.
Other than that,
I love you, Daniel Poe.
Oh yeah, I mean,
You're
right?
My guy.
He's fourth in scoring. 83 points last year. Kid can ball, but
fourth in the state, right?
Yep.
Yeah, fourth in the state.
But yeah, that's
not too shabby for a midfielder.
Yeah, I mean that's just. But unfortunately, that's out of your offense now. Now, when it comes to defense, I would say honestly one of the biggest hits. And it was just because of one player to me. I think Greenville losing Lincoln's huge.
Greenville losing Lincoln, tongue twister, is huge.
Yeah, there you go. Say that 3 times.
I'll even play off of that in the Greenville side of things and look at JL Mann. JL Mann lost their goalie. They lost their, Logan Early, LSM, close defender. Lost 2 huge guys off of their team, off of their starting unit, and I think that's going to be a big impact. Boiling Springs, if we're talking about big graduating classes, Lincoln Husky could be a one-man graduating class, and that would be a huge graduating class.
And unfortunately, they had a transfer or two that was going to, kind of acts like that as well. If we're going to talk about people, going, I think one of my biggest positions that's fallen into is goalie.
Okay.
When I look at guys who have left who were kind of the guy, you said it, but with Hansma over at Gelman, he kept them in a lot of games.
He did. He had a great 2 years.
Unorthodox goalie, but when you say talented, kid's not lacking it. So I think that's a big one for them. I think we kind of were talking about it before the podcast started, but it's one that's just a question. Because both kids could play, but it's just kind of be, is it a drop-off? Is it a net zero? Is it a positive? But losing Corbin Messer at Burns, finished out 10th or 11th in the state, ton of minutes, average 8 goals against. I mean, you tell most teams, 10 to 12 is kind of where you're winning and losing games. If you can score over 10, you're doing good. If you're scoring over 12, you got a good chance of winning that game. And if you're scoring less than that, then you got a good chance of losing it. And I think that's one. They got. I think Cameron Howell's going to be taking his spot, and I think could be a good replacement. But I'm excited. They have a strong defense, and I think the goalie is going to kind of.
They do have a strong defense.
Put that all together. So that's another question for me. Is if that goalie can step in and really make his mark and kind of take over what Corbin's built over the last few years.
I like him. I think he'll do well. I think he's got a strong starting defensive unit in front of him, and I think that's going to aid him.
It's always a good first step.
It doesn't hurt when you've got some really tall, aggressive, strong boys running out to protect you.
Got to protect the president.
We can talk about Spartanburg. I know they lost Seth Miller. Seth Miller.
I got him.
Seth Miller, who is at Clemson now. Shout out Seth Miller.
Let's go.
There's a couple of my guy Aaron Humphrey. I'm gonna give Aaron a shout out.
Another one.
I believe he's also on your squad, but he's a JL Mann kid. Sorry to everybody else that's on this squad that I'm not talking about yet. We might still get you, but Seth was a big loss, or is going to be a big loss for Spartanburg. If I hadn't done some things recently with them, looking at that loss, I would be wondering, who's going to replace a guy like Seth.
They got a good foundation.
They do. They've got a lot of youth, and that's another talking point we can dive into at some point, whether it's now or in a minute. Talking about young programs and guys that have a lot of young leadership. I think Spartanburg's one of those programs. They've got a lot of 2028s, a lot of 2027s on this year's team.
Yep.
And I think those guys are going to be on the field a lot. I think those guys are their more experienced players at this point.
Yep.
Talking about guys like Chapman Hughes, Jackson Pingley.
Oh, yeah.
Guys that are in their third, fourth year of playing lacrosse and in their third, fourth year of playing varsity lacrosse perhaps. But I think Spartanburg's a young team, and I think they could make some waves. I think they made some waves last year. I think they're going to continue to make some waves this year.
And that's the thing. It's like, especially with a team like Spartanburg, shout out to Coach Eaton. He coaches such a team lacrosse too. It's like, these guys weren't on your top 50, stat line, but you talk about some even stats. Jackson Pingley last year, 39 points. 22 goals, 17 assists. It's like Chapman Hughes, 36 points. This was a little bit more one-sided towards the goal-scoring end, but, 25 and 11 is not bad. And I think the great part about that comment is these boys are going into their junior year, like you said. They're not seniors, so, you get another year under them. They could make some real waves this year, and if they don't, they always got another year behind them where it's like their senior year's going to be a problem.
For sure. And it doesn't hurt, this year when they've got Jordan Atkins, who is a senior this year, going to be a senior this year, according to Max Preps. And, we all love how accurate and reliable Max Preps is.
The most reliable.
Shout out Max Preps.
For reliability.
Max Preps says that Jordan faced off at a 72% last year. And it does not ever hurt when you have 72% of your possessions to play a game. Or at least a chance to score on 72% of the game's possessions. That's a good start. Shout out Jordan. I believe he just recently signed his letter to play, or I think he signed his commitment actually to play at Lander.
Go Bearcats.
Love to see upcountry area athletes going to play in college. Spartanburg, shout out you guys. I think you guys have a lot of success coming up. We'll talk more about that in a second. I'm going to tease the big whiteboard behind us. We've got this nice big whiteboard courtesy of LowLax here in Greenville and Coach Playstead. But we're going to kind of give you guys like a soft, in a little bit, I'm going to tease you first. Going to give you a little soft little preseason ranking, so to speak. So, young programs that graduated heavy. Who's somebody that you want to talk about right now?
I guess it would be easier. Let's talk about, the guys who've been in it. Been successful. When I think of the championship contenders, guys like that, to me it kind of falls on 2 5A teams and then really 1 4A team in this area. You got Dorman and Malden, hanging out. One's representing Greenville, one's representing Spartanburg area. And then you got Christchurch, representing Greenville with the 4A. Those are kind of the 3 teams that, we've kind of, the consensus between you and I has been, that's where, you're kind of going through. So, maybe we could start there. Obviously it's the hot topic. We've all seen it on Instagram. But, and it's like, once again, Dorman has a lot of 27s and 28s.
They do.
And they just picked up another one.
I was going to say they returned a lot of 27, 28.
And they just picked up another one.
And then they snagged Jaden Kosak from Boiling Springs. I don't mean to say snagged from Boiling Springs.
I mean,
it is not a open transfer rule necessarily like college is. You do still have to. There are still rules and regulations, and there are still players that tried to transfer and weren't eligible to and weren't able to. So I don't want people jumping into this by my wording there, thinking that players are just transferring for fun.
And the biggest thing is understanding that the state did a really poor job of explaining this.
100%. And I kind of ran with it just to get attention.
It was never clear.
Grow a social media, presence.
And we can make excuses for, try to explain, how it makes sense, but it just wasn't clearly communicated.
It wasn't, and I don't know. It's tough when you talk about high school players and they're still kids.
Oh yeah, but to get back on it, that's you throw a Jaden Kosak into an offense that already has a lot of young, strong talent. You talk about the Couriers. You talk about even someone at the X like Carter Kish, who could not only win a face-off, but he can go score one.
Carter Kish had a growth spurt.
That boy is not small.
No, he's a big kid now.
So, I think of guys like that, I think of players, once again, they're going to be super young. Pretty sure, they got Colton Anderson.
Yep.
That's another one, young guy. Saw time last year on varsity already, so I don't expect Norman to go away. They're definitely not going to go away this year, and they're definitely not going to go away next year.
No.
Not necessarily championship contenders at this point, but they also have a pretty strong 29 and 30 class.
For sure.
They got some guys. So, that's a team that, to me right now, I think has credit to Coach Mez, Coach Sean over there. They've built something that's not a one-off. We see a lot of teams, they have that 1 year of greatness. This is our year. Dorman's done a great job of setting themselves up for 3 to 4 of those. So.
Dorman's, I don't want to say the word loaded, but they have the potential to represent the Upstate for a little while if they play their cards right. And Jamison Porterfield, I think, is a name you might have mentioned to
I left
speak,
him out.
So I will not forget to speak.
I left him out.
And that's not your fault. But Jamison in goal, I don't have – hold on. We do have the numbers. We have a save percentage.
We do.
And again – I know for a fact that Max Preps is not accurate on Dorman.
Reliable.
And Coach Sean Buff, I think you know why.
Reliable.
Anyway, what Max Preps has for Jamison Porterfield was a 60% save rate, which when you're saving 6 out of every 10 balls that come in,
you're doing a good job.
That's a good number. You love to see, as a coach, you love to see anywhere between 50 and 60.
Yeah.
60 is phenomenal. Anything above that's astronomical. But between 50 and 60, I'm happy. I'm content. We're good to go.
Yeah. And once again, it even goes to goals against. He's sitting at 8.7. So you know what I mean? It's just another one where, he's holding teams to less than 10 points on a regular basis, and that's just a stat you can't ignore.
I'm pretty sure that's only about half of their season's numbers. Anyway. Moving right along. Dorman's great. You mentioned the Couriers. There's 3 of them. Liam, you've got playing LSM and close. You've got Colin in the midfield. You've got Noah playing a little bit of attack and a little bit of midfield. Dorman's loaded head to toe. I could talk about them all day. In a minute we'll have our rankings. Dorman will definitely be near the top. Malden's the other. I'm sorry? Oh, last. Dorman's going to be last for Coach Coleman.
Yeah, last.
I'll have them near the top for mine, you know. They got all that nice Dorman gear back there. You guys can – I'll send you my address. You can send me a shirt.
There you go.
Anyway, Malden's probably our number 2, looking at the 5A teams. You talked about them having a big graduating class. They also have a big returning class. Dylan Browning won Region Goalie of the Year. For their area, which was phenomenal for him in what I believe was his first year playing varsity lacrosse. He stepped up in a big way. He's poised to make a big year. He signed in North Greenville. He can take that pressure off of his shoulders and play lacrosse. And his defense, Evan Fruska, is going to be. He's already phenomenal. He's going to continue to be, and I think that defense is going to lead the way for Malden. You mentioned Gavin Levine before we even started. Gavin's a big name to know.
Just a quarterback.
Just a
solid quarterback. I would expect him to be the very center of the Malden offense. And if not, it's a game, and they're trying to get you to fall asleep, and he'll get you when you're not paying attention.
And I think he's gonna have to be that guy that steps up for the hole left by Daniel Poe, and I think he said 86 points or something like that he scored last year, but 84. I was close. You've got a lot of guys that are coming into their junior, senior year in that Malden program, and they scored 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 points last year. You hope to see them if they can double that and produce to get 20, 25, 30. Malden's got probably 8 guys that can put up 20 to 30 points this year, plus Gavin, who can easily go off for another 50, 60. And Malden's another high-level, high-quality team to beat. Shout out CJ taking the face-off. He wrestles, but he's a stud taking face-offs, and he's a super athlete. I love Malden. Dorman, I think what's a mistake? I don't have the schedule in front of me, but
they're the favorite. If we go, we got stuff. We're here.
I've got my phone hooked up over here. Shout out the upgrade and equipment we're trying tonight. My computer's right there, and I can't look up anything. I feel so hand-tied. I feel kind of unfortunate. I do feel naked. I didn't want to say it, but that's the truth. So I'll just keep talking while you pull up some numbers. Dorman and Malden are 1 and 2.
They got some games on.
That's in the 5A. We can talk while you're pulling up a little bit of schedules.
They got some games. They don't have a lot of stuff.
And it depends on who you pull up. Again, if you pull up Dorman, it's not going to be complete.
Yep.
But someone like Burns might have all of their stuff.
Yep.
Maybe a little extra. listed in there.
A couple extra stats.
A couple extra games listed, a couple extra stats listed.
But, no, I mean, they're going to have a hard schedule. I think they actually just posted it online. Dorman posted their schedule.
Yeah, that's why I feel naked. I can't.
They have Audrey Kelly on their schedule, so it's like, you
have Oceanside, too.
Yep. So, you can even tell, their coaching staff's serious about playing.
And that's what I was, you took the words right out of my mouth. That's how you know you're gearing up for a return to late in the postseason, is you're playing those good teams, you're playing the out-of-staters. You don't even have to go out of state. You can go to Charleston, get your licks, and come back bruised with a valuable lesson or two, and use that as a pivoting point to turn yourself into a postseason program.
Yep.
And I think that's what Boiling Springs has done the last couple of years. That's what Nation Ford has done the last couple of years, and that's what Dorman's looking to do this year. I haven't seen Malden's schedule. I know it's out. I haven't seen it, but I don't think they'd go that far.
They always do a Myrtle Beach trip or something like that. So I can imagine they'll play everybody in their region, and then they'll throw in Boiling Springs, Dorman, Socastee. They'll go down there. I think the last thing I would want to add. I love Socastee. I went to Socastee.
Shout out John Grega.
Love John Grega.
No
was
way.
my teammate in high school, dude.
Fun fact.
Love John Grega.
We've got some stories to tell after the podcast is over.
I got some. He was a mean defender, man. That was back when we could actually hit people. But for Malden, I think
blindside hits.
The last one for me, same thing. Dorman got a good transfer. They got a guy coming in.
Oh, we didn't even talk about the Malden transfers.
I would say Christian Buss is a strong transfer.
I didn't even get to publish them, but there were several of them. But Christian Buss is a big one coming from Hillcrest.
His stats were definitely wrong, just because it said he had 9 goals last year, and that's just not possible.
Christian Buss plays that Daniel Poe big body aggressive style, and that's another guy that could fill into that role.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to score 80-something points, but he could score 40 and 50 and make help Malden win some of those close games.
Well, I could see him really doing work as a facilitator.
100%.
He's always had the ability, especially being at Hillcrest, he kind of had to for a while put the team on his back. And he's always capable of going on a good run, scoring a couple goals. But, where I would see him really kind of thriving is kind of that dodging facilitator, creating offense, maybe not necessarily the first take, but getting the ball rolling. Especially if you put, you get him and Gavin, they get a little chemistry going.
That's a really
that's a strong combination
combo right there.
That's a strong combination right there, and that's going to be one that nobody really kind of anticipated to see, but we're going to have to take a look at it this spring, and I think that's going to cause if they see themselves getting along and getting that chemistry going, that's going to be a mean duo.
Malden will be good.
Yep.
Dorman will be good. Christchurch will be good as well. They're in the 4A.
Yep.
But Christchurch stays pulling in the top tier lacrosse talent from the area.
They're good at that.
They got another guy, and he didn't come in from the area. Michael Spinelli is a name to know. Mm-hmm. I think he came in from New York area, New Jersey maybe.
Something like that.
Sorry, Michael, if I'm incorrect. But he's a name to know at Christchurch. Christchurch, they graduate heavy, and then they reload heavy. So Christchurch is another team to watch. 4A is fun because it's always, who's going to go play Oceanside. Not even who's going to, I guess, because you got the battle with AC Flora that seems kind of inevitable in that 4A bracket. But I like Christchurch a lot. Will Morton comes back. I like Will Morton a lot.
Yep.
We can't even forget William Roy, who's going to play Division I lacrosse at Cornell University. He's going to go play for a national champion.
He's one who could turn it on this year if he decided. So he's one of those players for me that it's like a mental switch where if they decide to turn it on, they'll be in that top 5, point scorers for the state. And if they don't, they'll coast through.
We don't have any max preps numbers for Christchurch. I love you, Coach P.
We would like some stats, Coach Corsetto.
But Christchurch is a team that I love to go watch.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm still formulating, podcast. Upcountry is still trying to formulate what and how and if and when and where anything's going to be going on the sidelines this year. So I don't know what's going to happen there. But if I'm out and about again like I was last year, Christchurch is going to be a team I'm going to want to try to attend to.
Oh yeah, I mean, like you said, it's them and AC Flora kind of for who's going to go play Oceanside.
So those are those are our like championship contenders. Those are, if we're talking top 3 teams, and again, we're focusing on the Upcountry. So if you're in the Midlands and watching this, if you're in the Low Country, you're watching this, and you say, "Oh man, they're forgetting me." We're not forgetting you.
We're not talking about you.
We just don't have time for you. There's not enough time in the day, and unless some of you want to help, Upcountry has not made a dime. So this is all just for poops and giggles.
Poops and giggles, y'all.
We'll keep this PG so we can put it on Instagram and
we will monetize
YouTube.
It.
Take a step down. Tier 1, championship contenders.
Okay.
Tier 2, that next bracket of teams that are going to surprise the championship contenders on any given Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday afternoon or evening. We've got 3 of them listed. We kind of mentioned Spartan High already.
Yep.
We don't have to touch on them too much, even though I'm sure you'd love to talk about Spartan High all day.
I do. Go Vikings.
Jordan Atkins is a big guy. Chapman Hughes. I love AJ. He's going to be their goalie. I presume he's going to be their goalie this year. I've been working with him personally, so I hope for the best from him. But that's going to be kind of a question mark for Spartanburg is their goalie transition. They graduated 1. They got a new fresh face coming in. Is he going to step up? Is he going to see a lot of shots? Is that defense without Seth Miller going to open up a lot of shots for him to see? How's that going to work out? That's kind of my question mark. I think Spartanburg has a good offense. They have a lot of young firepower.
They got athletes. They just got athletes, and you've worked with them. You've done the Upcountry Clinic with them. I know they've had Coach Tobias out from Clemson. It's like Coach Eaton's doing such a good job of just getting them different perspectives and different opportunities to get better at their game that, I think it's inevitable that, while they may not be, that shining star and top of the state, top of the upper state, I think you got it listed pretty well here with dark horses, and that they're a team that you may go, okay, yeah, we're playing Spartanburg, but if you're not prepared, you're in for a long night.
For sure, they did that a couple times last year. I think they caught, what comes to mind is they caught Burns by surprise, and I think Spartanburg haven't seen their schedule, but I'm sure they'd be poised to take another couple of teams by surprise with still having a really good, experienced young roster. I know a lot of their team played club ball. Whether it was Invaders or Sonics, a lot of their guys played this summer, this fall, so that always helps.
Yep,
that always helps. Boiling Springs and Greenville are our other 2 dark horses. Okay. It's just right in front of me. Excuse me. It's all mine. But Greenville, I don't know as much about Greenville. I live in the Spartanburg area. That's why we saw so much Spartanburg action this past season, so I'm not as familiar with Greenville.
I think one of the things with Greenville that you tend to lose track of is especially over the last year or 2, they've almost had that Boiling Springs effect where, you have one guy that kind of overshadows everybody.
Okay.
And I think, having Lincoln was, such a asset.
Lincoln Oles.
But he can tend to take the spotlight away from guys who are real contributors.
Sure.
And that's not anything against, him as a player or a person. That's just kind of just what happens in the game. You're a little bit bigger, a little bit flashier. Once again, stats are different, but sometimes just how a stat looks that will separate you.
Sure.
So, that's one. Once again, you got them on here. You got Schaefer, you got Beckett Way, you got Maxon. You got guys who are real contributors who really make a difference for their team. They're going to be able to kind of now, not necessarily ask for it, but to put themselves in the opportunity to get the spotlight. You got Keaton Knowles. Stepping up.
Little
bro. Once again, and you can think there might be big shoes to fill there or whatever. You got to keep up, but I think especially for their program, what Coach Tillman's done over there, I don't think there are a lot of guys who are like really selfish for that spotlight. I think they're totally okay with being just team guys, and to be honest, that's scary. Because once again, you get into some tough games. I'm pretty sure they did it, a few times last year, but they got into a couple of tight games, a couple of OT games, and they came out the winners.
Dude, I was there for their OT winner against JL. Man, that was a fun game.
So it's like, and
that was an OT win.
I'll be 100%. I think OT winners come from whoever is the most conditioned and whoever's the most team-based team on the field right there.
Sure.
Whoever's willing to be the most unselfish is probably going to be that team that wins that game. And once again, if you're winning a bunch, if you're going into OT and you're winning it consistently, it's like that just shows you got a strong culture.
Unless you're Duke with C.J. Costabile in 2010's questionable pinch and push on the face-off, but I'm a Duke fan, so I'm not hating Costabile. Whether it was dirty or not. I can't tell from the film. It's too grainy in 2025.
What do you think, Sam?
And watching it on probably the 20-inch CRT TV in 2010 was not super high def either. But Boiling Springs, they graduated heavy. Jaden Kozak moved. He's now going to Dorman. They've got still some big names. Yep. Caden Quaranta comes to mind. He's a really skilled lefty.
Yep.
I love watching Caden play. It'll be so interesting for me to watch who he vibes with this year. Because he vibed so well last year. He has to be the quarterback.
He's going to be your quarterback unless they got a sleeper.
You've got Dylan Snyder coming back, and Dylan, I think, is another Lander guy. But outside of those two, Brooks Wilkins won a lot of face-offs that last year. He's a guy that has the ability to push forward, scoop, and score.
Yeah.
I didn't see it as many times last year as maybe I thought he could have, but this year he's going to have to. You graduated Lincoln Husky. Everybody has to step up. Mike Laffner's a big name on D.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe he's a Newberry signee. And I hate that I don't know all of these off the top of my head.
This is where I would argue that they're in like the opposite category of dark horses, and like we expect them to be good.
Fair, yeah.
But they got a few things that are just kind of putting you like, oh, are they going to be in the Upstate Championship? Those kind of questions. So once again, I'm excited to see how some of those guys step in. We touched on it a little bit, but I think Quaranta is really going to be that guy for him this year. The kid just knows how to play ball.
He does, and he plays all the time. He's never stops playing.
No.
I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that
plays for any and every team he can. He's always looking for reps. I think if they can build a good structure around him, I think they'll be set up. I think they'll have a strong year. It's just kind of, will those secondary players and those players we don't know about yet, are they going to step into their own and be able to make those contributions?
They lost Parker Lamb, their goalie. And I know Caleb Sapp got a couple of minutes last year, but that's one of those names. Not everyone knows Caleb Sapp's name. Are we going to, or are we not going to? And that's going to dictate a lot of Boiling Springs' success.
Yep.
Okay, moving right along. We've talked the championship contenders, the dark horses. Now we've got the teams that could make a first round playoff push, but I would not imagine seeing push past the first round, if that.
Solid 5 out of 10.
Yeah.
No offense.
No.
If you're on the list.
And there's no offense intended for anybody, whether you're at the top of the list or the bottom of the list. This is just two guys that have been playing and coaching lacrosse for 10 plus years apiece, giving their opinions.
Questionable takes.
Questionable takes indeed. Take it for a grain of salt, folks. Please don't DM us a whole bunch of hate mail.
I won't read it.
I'll read it. I'll cry.
I won't.
Okay, so mid-pack. Who you got?
I'm going to go down it. I think a big one this year, it's going to be interesting to see what they can do, but I think JL Man.
Yeah.
I think normally who was a powerhouse in this area for the last few years, I wouldn't necessarily say they're going to be taking their slice of humble pie, but they got some spots to fill.
No, Coach Sean or Coach Buff Grubb. Goodness, Coach Buff Grubb is not going to go down without a fight.
Oh, no.
And they graduated heavy. They've got Hudson Cremens, who I think is one of the best physical, body style offensive players in the Upstate.
Mm-hmm.
He's coming back. I'm going to be honest with you. Outside of him, I've got a lot of questions.
Well, and I think that's a big thing. They lose their goalie, and they're going to probably have some guys who are your JV fringe players last year that are going to be making their step up and getting their chops this year for the first time at varsity.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's going to be really, do those kids answer? I think once again, Coach Grubb, absolute legend. There isn't a question in the world if he knows what he's talking about. He creates good lacrosse players. He creates good lacrosse teams. It just really comes down to 10th graders competing with seniors.
Sure.
And I think that for me, it's like, obviously they'll win if they can match a team physically and they can be more talented, they'll have no problem winning a game. But I still think they'll struggle against teams that they're more talented than, that are just bigger, stronger, and faster.
I'm so glad you said that, because that's a great talking point, is that you can have so many skilled and talented freshmen and sophomores, and sometimes it's just a matter of size and strength.
Yep.
Not always, but certainly sometimes. And when we're talking about a 10-on-10 matchup, it helps.
Yep.
It helps. We can talk about one of the next mid teams in size, athleticism. I think Burns.
Yep.
I look at Burns' starting defensive unit, and I think of like a wall. They're huge. They're fast. They're skilled.
Yep.
They're aggressive. Outside of their starting defensive unit at Burns, maybe outside of face-off, I've got a lot of questions.
Yeah.
You already mentioned new goalie.
Yep.
Offense last year, we could say, was lackluster.
I mean,
those questions will still continue.
And I think that's kind of this is a blanket for the whole of like the mid-tier packs, and there's obviously a lot more teams that should be in here as well. But
We've only got so much time, Coach.
Are you capable of beating up the teams? Like, you can beat up bad teams.
Yeah.
Scoring 20 on a bad team is, it's relatively easy in this area.
It's not even fun.
It's really not fun. The kids have a great time. Coaches sometimes don't necessarily like it. I've been on both ends of it, and once again, that and I think that makes you that solid mid-pack team.
Sure.
If you're beating the bottom of the barrel by 20 goals, 15 goals, and then you go play, one of your top 5 teams in the state, and you get 10-piece, 15-piece, it's like, I think that's a great that's a telling line for you, that you're like kind of a mid-pack team. That's where I would say Man and Burns kind of played that yin and yang, where Burns really does have that size and skill, and they have the bigger, stronger, faster. But like you said, I think if they can put the few things together, X's and O's wise, and really get some production, like going into, like you brought it up, but the battle, the Burns-Spartanburg battle, that was a low-scoring game.
And they played Dorman to a 5-4 or a 6-5 finish.
And once again, if your team can stop Dorman into less than 8 goals, there's really only one thing that needs to be made up for, and that's your offensive scoring. Yep. So I think especially a stat line like that, once again, it's really telling, which would also lead me into next team, which is Riverside.
And I use the word lackluster. I think that's again, you can love me, you can hate me. I don't care. I think that's another word for the last couple of years from Riverside is lackluster. They've had and I don't want to say a lot, they've had a handful of really skilled players come in and out over there, and what have they shown for it is how I want to phrase that question.
Yeah.
Call me the Max Kellerman of Upcountry Lacrosse. I don't know what to expect from Riverside. They've got the Livingstons.
They got
2 of them.
Merrick Lay.
Merrick's another big name. 3 guys that are signed, or 2 guys that are signed to play in college. You have to assume Sam will. He's a 28, so legally he can't.
Very talented. Once again,
but he's playing on that national. Talent. He's in that national regional level with Team 91, I believe. And when you get to that Team 91 level, we start to expect certain things. And playing in college is one of those things. If you're committing that type of time, energy, money into something, we assume that's your goal. So the Livingstons are going to carry Riverside, we assume. If anybody else can step up, and you could say that's for every one of these mid-pack teams. You could say that's for Burns, that's for Man, that's for Riverside. We haven't talked about Eastside, but that's another team I have in there after having graduated so heavily. Who steps up for Eastside? You've got the 2 Moss brothers. I don't know if they're both going to be playing this year, but I know when we talk about size and athleticism, they come to mind.
Yep.
I have to look at my notes. Hudson Metcalf, I'm sorry, I had to look at my notes. Hudson Metcalf is a kid that I love. He's so humble. He's so respectful.
Fantastic young man.
I love talking to him. And he's going to North Greenville, but he's a kid that will probably stay on the field for every minute that coach doesn't force him off the field for the season.
Yep.
Having lost Kai, he's going to be that midfield presence. He's a face-off guy by nature. He faced off at a really high percentage last year.
He's your classic two-way midi, like the guy
who
is
a classic two-way midi.
Face, go play offense, go play defense.
Max Prep says he took 205 face-offs last year and won 74% of them.
That's probably
Shout out Hudson Metcalf, because I've got a clip saved somewhere of him just straight up obliterating a corner on the run at Dorman, and it was just
he can play.
Beautiful. He's just a great
Yeah.
classic two-way midfielder, do it all, size, skill.
But can those 2s and 3s in the line in the lineup? Can those bring that heat? Can those
freshmen? Can those sophomores step up and make a difference? You know, and if you are one of those freshmen, one of those sophomores, and you are struggling with finding a role, and you think to yourself, "Man, I've got all this skill, I've got all this time invested in the wall, and I still can't get on the field." It might be your athleticism. It might be, and if you haven't hit a growth spurt yet, if you're not huge, go work out. Go find a field and do sprints. You know, I'm sure you can speak to this as a college coach now. Athleticism does not come naturally for everyone.
No.
And it's very much a skill that you have to develop, and you can be unskilled in lacrosse and a great athlete and get a lot of play time just from being a great athlete.
Yeah.
Opposite that, you can be the most skilled player in the world, but if you're immobile and you're not a good athlete, I might not be able to find a position for you on the field where I think you can make a positive difference for my team. So I hate that I went on this tangent, but if you're a 28, a 29, and you want to make a difference, work on your athleticism, work on your strength, your speed,
cardio,
work on all that stuff. I don't want to say put your stick down, take your stick with you, especially when you're doing sprints. Promise you, the ability to run full speed, end to end on a clear, vastly underrated as a player. Coaches, that's what we're looking for. We want a kid that we can trust to get the ball from end to end. Mm-hmm. Rant over.
Boom.
Coaching hat's not coming off, but, imaginary coaching hat's off. Okay.
It's a metaphor.
Do we want to start a list?
I'm ready to go into some rankings. So
do we want to keep talking?
Let's go into some rankings. So what we did...
We need to write big, because I'm a little worried about the screen.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
Just write huge.
Just make up what we're writing. You can make it up. You can say we wrote something different. So
Photoshop this later.
Obviously, when you go look at Max Preps, we got a few different outliers. So like Christ School's in this because they're in South Carolina.
That's why we love Max Preps, because they're so accurate,
reliable. TC Robertson's in here. That's another one. Asheville.
Are you sure you didn't make a mistake?
I did not. I went into Max Prep's South Carolina lacrosse rankings.
Shout out Max Prep South Carolina lacrosse rankings. You have a lot of North Carolina teams in there.
And so blame Google. So
it's not Google's fault.
The fun part is, this is just going off of the records and our strength of schedule here. But if we really wanted to do like a top 10, we can kind of just go off of what we were, talking about for the last little while. They have Bowling Springs over Dorman.
Naturally. But they don't know what we know.
We don't know. Yeah, they don't know what we know. Well, that's last year, too.
Right, and that's still ironic.
So, once again.
Our top 10 that we're working on here, it's going to be an Upcountry top 10. So it's regionless, it's divisionless.
It's just what we want.
It's just the teams in the region. If you're Lexington and you're like, oh no, we should have been number 10. Well, regionally, you're not up here. So
it's just our opinion.
Take a chill pill.
It's just our opinion.
Lexington, I love you. You can send me a shirt or a hat, and I'll love you even more.
I was about to say, if you send us money or gear, we will be more likely to put you on our list.
I feel like your numbers got progressively smaller,
They did. Well, I feel like I'm doing the weather right now. All right. So, number 1 for the Upstate, who you got?
You're putting the spotlight on me?
I have to go with it. We talked about it in our our favorites. I have to say Dorman's number 1 right now. I have to say Dorman's number 1.
Do I have to stand up?
No, I'm just writing.
All right, I'll back up a little bit.
No.
Oh man. I need to see the numbers again, man, because that's a close one between Dorman. Can you pull up last year? Who won? Was it
Dorman or Malden?
Right.
Dorman.
Regular season because they didn't play in the postseason.
Hold on.
But Dorman won?
I'm pretty sure. Let's go. Dorman.
So I feel like that was one of those games that maybe Malden's.
Or they won in the regular season?
No, because Malden lost to Bowling Springs, so they weren't on the path of Dorman.
Wait, hold on.
Are you looking at the wrong team?
No, it's Dorman. They lost to Malden.
Dorman lost to Malden. What was the score?
9-10. 10-9.
Okay. So 10-9, Malden won. And you could, oh man.
I would have to argue
Hayden
Dorman.
Smith, but Hayden Smith's the guy that Dorman lost. He's the Daniel Poe of Dorman.
That's a huge one.
So both teams lost a dominant midfielder that played both ways, two-way midfielders. Gosh. I like Dorman's face-off better. I love you, Dylan Browning.
I just think that Malden has too many unanswered questions right now compared to Dorman. That's my only reasoning for putting one higher than the other.
And sometimes at the end of the day, I have to go to, if I'm building a team, if I'm looking at goalie positions, Dylan's a senior, Jameson's a junior. Jameson plays for, I think it's the 91 South or the 91 National team. That's
they got some
not
guys.
Something to be discredited. He's playing Division I talent all the time. I think Dorman's our number 1.
Dorman's the number 1.
I think Dorman's our number 1. That was difficult, though. See, and this is why I only did one ranking during the regular season last year, was because of the pressure. It's so much pressure. So difficult.
We'll do another one.
Plus, I was doing statewide, and man, we can talk about that later.
All right, so 2, obviously. Malden.
Unless you think Christchurch over Malden, but
I honestly believe if they go head-to-head, Malden's going to take that game.
It's going to be a battle, and I love that it's a battle every year, and it was one last year.
I was about to say, we're looking it up right now.
I don't even remember who came out on top. I know it was a 1 or 2 goal game. I think Christchurch might have won that one.
No.
Malden won that one too?
That's right. There were some injuries, I'm pretty sure. Because Christchurch had some guys go down. They won that game 10-2.
Oh. Was that
Malden won that 10-2.
Interesting. Okay.
So I'm going to assume there were some injuries, if I'm remembering
correctly. They also know each other really well. Coach Hodgercourt and Coach Porchetta being connected through Sonics. When you get past, when you have fairly matched athletes and your teams are fairly matched, it does come down to coaching. And sometimes,
well, I don't think next year will be 10-2.
No,
but I'm still going to give the edge to.
Christchurch had to make a shift and a pivot when Hudson went down.
Yeah, that's
changed a lot.
That's a big pivot too.
So number 3, we're looking at Christchurch, Boiling Springs. Maybe Greenville.
I was about to say Greenville in there, because what did Greenville...
Maybe Greenville.
What did Greenville do against Malden right here? 8-7. So that was an 8-7 win.
What did Greenville do against Christchurch? Because that was another close one, I feel. And I feel like that one might have been another surprise. But again, we talk about injuries. Christchurch did lose a little bit
13-12 win.
So Greenville beat Christchurch last year and Malden last year. However, Greenville also graduated 3 or 4 of their top 4 or 5 offensive players. They lost Lincoln Knowles. They returned Max Sin, but Malden also returns their goalie. Boiling Springs lost their...
We didn't even talk about Owen Reamer for Christchurch.
I love the Reamers, all of them. There's so many of them.
Yeah,
but they're a great family. They're great people.
That's that kid can play.
Shout out Owen and the Reamers.
All of them. So, yeah.
Christchurch, Boiling Springs is what it comes down to me, I think.
I would say there.
Greenville has too many question marks
I would probably give it to Boiling Springs at that point.
Okay.
Cool. Is it Boiling Springs? Verdict?
Coach Playstead says it's Boiling Springs over Christchurch. You heard it here first.
Well, just beat them next year and shut me up.
There you go. When in doubt, beat them and shut Coach Coleman up.
Yeah, that's all you got to do. Just do the opposite of what I said, and you'll shut me up.
All right, Dorman, Malden, Boiling Springs. I'm going Christchurch, then Greenville.
All right, there we go.
You're all right, Christchurch or CCES if you're feeling lazy. That's
we're feeling lazy tonight.
9 times out of 10.
And Greenville's going in at a 5. Greenville's hitting the 5 slot.
Our dark horses were Boiling Springs, Spartanburg, and Greenville. I think Greenville, probably head to toe, has a more lacrosse developed roster.
I would have to agree with that. Greenville it is.
It's close, though, and I hope they play each other this year. There's so many teams and so many games I want to go to this year, and I just need to have another podcast where I'm just talking to myself.
There you go.
Figuring out what the future looks like.
Just put a mirror and just talk to yourself all the time. I think that would be fun. 6.
Cool. Now we're getting to the nitty gritty.
Yeah, now we're getting to the fun stuff.
I might have to stand up in a minute, you know? All right, so.
I'm going in with Spartanburg.
I was going to say, let me flip the paper upside down. Look at my options here. I've still got Sparty. We're looking for number 6. Sparty. I got Man. See, way too many question marks. Eastside. Too many graduations. Riverside. A lot of question marks. Burns. I like their defense a lot at Burns, but so many questions on the offense, and
I think Spartanburg still got them.
Burns is not. Well, I would just say they're not as lacrosse developed as some of these other programs on the list. Like, Man, every year I question them, and then every year they're 9-8, and they beat a good team or two, and it's like, dang, where did that come from?
Well, it's really just how consistently can you break over 500?
Sure.
You know, that's really what it comes down to.
Man's been good at that.
Of like a coach's standpoint. And I think Spartanburg's a team that can bleed over that. Whereas
Spartanburg was 500 last year on the dot.
I think they're a team that has a better chance of bleeding over that than like Burns.
I think Spartanburg's better than they were this year, for sure. So I think if our options are Spartanburg, Burns, JL Man, Riverside. I'm sorry, Eastside. I love a lot of you guys, but you're young. And we're going to figure it out together without Kai Smith. Gonna have to. I think I'm going Spartanburg, man.
All right.
Shout out Coach Eaton.
There you go. Number 6, Coach. Good job, man. Proud of you.
You can't tell, Coach Eaton's a friend of the pod. He's a friend of everyone that's, I don't know.
He's all right. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. All right, so we got 7.
He served our country valiantly. Thank you for your service.
Did he?
He did. He was in the Marines.
He just ate it.
I know you know that. That's why it's funny.
All right, so 7. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to have to probably going to throw another curveball here.
And we're missing teams. Like, there are teams that I did not bother writing down.
So we got, let's just go through who we haven't picked here.
Let's Let's just put some guys over
So we
here.
got
We didn't talk
East
about
Side. You got East Side is on the board. You got Jailman on the board. Burns is on the board. You got Riverside on the board.
Don't roast my hair. I need a haircut.
Roast him.
Damn it. Hillcrest, I love you. I'm not putting you on here. St. Joe's, I love you. Not putting you on here.
I think T.O. Hanna's a team that could.
T.O. Hanna, I'm putting you on as a
They
potential.
were on the fringe. And you really, for me, a lot of these games come down to region.
Region's tough.
You know, and I think that's going to be a big problem that a lot of these teams are going to have to hurdle. Another reason why I really can't.
Missing somebody?
No, I think that's about.
Are you sure?
I mean, there's other teams, but we just don't have them on here.
All right. I mean, that's fine.
And once again, if you don't like that, you're not on the list.
You want to put Woodmont on here, Coach?
No.
Okay.
No, that's more motivation.
You got to
for those
earn
boys.
it.
Yeah, you got to earn
You
it.
got to earn it.
Coach Steve, take their numbers away. Make them play with blank jerseys. All right, so number 7.
Okay.
I'm gonna go East Side.
Hannah, Man, Fountain Inn. No, I'm not putting Fountain Inn on there. Sorry. You were a
They got
program
a lot to
last year.
prove. They got a lot more
So
to
much to
prove.
prove. They just came to mind.
Yep.
Sorry, I'm already erasing Fountain Inn. I love you.
We acknowledge you exist.
Shout out Hayes Corsetti.
Yep. Shout out a few of them boys. They got
a
some
transfer
ballers.
from Hillcrest as well.
I mean, once again, and that's a team, you know, we didn't really talk about because they were JV last year. So it's like, if we are going to take a tangent, it's like, that's a team that, you know, we know nothing about.
Yeah.
You know, other than if your JV played them last year, you know.
Is that a team that quietly made a coaching change this offseason?
No, I think they got the same guy. Yeah,
Sure.
he's one of our Sonics coaches.
Yeah, but I don't think he was the head coach last year.
Or he was an assistant.
Pratt wasn't. I don't think Ethan Pratt was the head coach last year, but I think Ethan Pratt's the head
He
coach
might
this
have.
year.
I'm pretty sure he was helping in some capacity.
I mean, he was, but I think
But
he's taking over this
regardless,
year. This could be big.
That's a team that we know nothing about, and you know, once again, they can come out
Prove it.
and smack all this down. So just win games, shut me up.
All right.
I think Eastside.
Dude,
I think
I am not going Eastside. Why Eastside?
I think I'm going Eastside strictly because of what they do have returning.
Which is who? Go ahead.
Metcalf.
Yep.
I
I got Jay Watson.
was about to say you got Jay in goal, you know, and I think those are guys that people will listen to.
Sure hope
And
so.
I think if they can get the rest of their team on board, and they do, like you said it too, they got the Moss brothers.
Yep.
You know, it's like that's a strong older team that I think can, if they can pull up the younger guys, can make a difference. For me, it's them or Burns.
See, I'm thinking about last year and results from last year and who lost what. Eastside beat Burns last year, but Eastside lost so much of their offense.
Well, yeah, I mean, you lose almost 100-point scorer.
Lost Kai. They lost the next two guys. I'm struggling with Eastside, but I'm struggling with everybody. Can you pull up? No, we're not going to pull up Hannah's stats yet. They can be like maybe a 10, 9. See, I'm leaning Burns, and maybe that's because I live on that side of town and I'm drinking the Dunkin' water.
Could be.
But I think Burns at 7 for me, between Hannah, Man, Eastside, Burns, Riverside.
I think they have Hannah.
I think I look at Burns' defense starting, and I continue to say starting defense because they've got 3 strong poles, and outside of those 3 strong poles, I don't know who's on that defensive unit outside of a couple of short sticks, which are phenomenal. So I think Burns rides defense to a lot of close games, and I hope that their offense has learned enough or gained enough experience over the summer and over the fall.
I mean, for me right now, it's like a coin flip.
I mean, and that's, if that's what it is, that's what
We'll
is.
go Burns. Because I think you're absolutely right in that we're not going to know Eastside's like true offensive efficiency until we get a few games in next year. Whereas we kind of know where Burns is at. That was already a 4-goal game last year.
Right.
So when you lose a Kai Smith who can just score a bunch of goals, I think that's one that, I think we're going to have to give the edge to Burns on that one.
I'm with it.
Okay. Here it is. Burns, your number 7. If I can spell it right.
Yeah, if you don't.
If you don't, I didn't go to school for spelling. I went to school for physical education. All right.
That's why he's so fit.
I mean, and that's just, just to talk about, we were talking about the region. But,
yeah.
That is a tough region right there. You got Dorman,
got 4 of the top 7.
Spartanburg, Burns.
Shout out Wade Hampton, who has to play all those guys.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. That's not a fun one. All right, 8. So, I'm going to say Eastside.
What happened to the Eastside Man last year?
Eastside Man. Let's find out.
I was there for that. Man blew him out.
Did they blow him out?
But talking with them after the fact.
Oh, yeah, Eastside.
They had some form of a punishment workout the day before, and there was some stuff going on about how prepared the team was for that one.
Interesting.
So, all to say, Eastside says it shouldn't have been a blowout, but it wasn't close.
Once again,
on the field.
Anytime you got to go against Buff Grub, you got a problem.
And that's the thing. Buff Grub, like you said, he's a legend. He gets it done. I cannot take him and his coaching ability. Every time I talk to him, I learn something. And I just want to say that because I'm a fanboy of Coach Buff Grub.
I want your autograph, Coach.
I learn something from him every time I talk to him. And so for me, when it comes down to looking, so many question marks about, man, they lost Aaron Humphrey, who was their top scorer. They lost a couple other guys who were their maybe 3rd and 4th scorer. But they've got Hudson Cremens back. I don't know who their goalie is. And, at the end of the day, that's a huge question mark. So contributing that, taking Hudson Metcalf into effect by himself.
I was about to say, just the idea of a strong goalie and face-off returning, I think is...
goalies, you can't discredit Riverside. I think we've got 3 spots left. And I think for me it comes down to Man, Eastside, and Riverside.
I would have to agree with that.
And I could make the argument between Hannah and Eastside probably, but that's going to be for you guys to make the argument come February, March, April.
Yep.
Right now, Hannah, I think you guys are on the cusp of developing into something greater. I just don't think you're there yet. So for me, we've got Man, Eastside, Riverside, and a lot of question marks to fill in for our last 3 spots. So Riverside,
I think honestly, let's see what that game.
You got Lay.
Did we have
I don't know why I'm doing this. You got the Livingstons. We'll put an S because there's 2 of them.
So we had, what was that, Eastside, Riverside? Yeah.
Merrick Lay, the Livingstons.
I'm not going to lie. I think I give the push to Riverside if we're going to throw them into that argument with Eastside, because once again, you got a 13-10 win for Eastside last year, but you remove that senior class. What does that game look like?
You pull up. So click on JL Man if you don't mind.
Clicked.
Go to go up and go to stats. I want to find out. Go to player stats. Sorry for just commanding you. I live on max preps.
I'm Jamie
I
now.
hate max preps.
Pull it up.
Goaltending stats for me, sir. Okay, so they had a sophomore who played 24 whole minutes of action.
That's a lot of minutes. I'm kidding.
It depends on the context.
That is not a lot of minutes.
Depends on the context.
He's going to get some this year. That's for sure.
So 24 minutes of a returning goalie for Man. Riverside
I think
returns.
It goes to Riverside.
Riverside returns one of the best goalies you could say in the Upstate, maybe even the state, depending on how that defense looks for him.
Yep.
We go Riverside at 8.
I think Riverside's at 8. We're doing
Interesting. That's a big jump for you, Riverside. I hope you're paying attention. Don't make us look like idiots. We already do that enough on our own naturally.
You're in the hot seat now.
Yeah, Riverside at 8.
All right. And then we got the matchup of all matchups, man versus Eastside.
I really don't want to put Coach Grubb at 10.
I think he's going to be 10, unfortunately. As much as I respect the man, I think he's
It's hard
a 10.
when you don't have an answer.
He also, if speaking for you, Coach, I think he would like the challenge.
Okay. All right.
I think he would like the challenge, but at the same time, I think Riverside, once again, you're returning a strong face-off guy and a strong goalie. And you've coached in this area, you've been in this area long enough. Those are two positions that are not taken lightly.
No, they can make a huge
It doesn't
difference.
matter how many goal scorers you got. If you ain't winning a face-off or stopping a goal, you ain't winning a game up here.
For sure.
I'm with anywhere, but
I'm with it.
So, all right.
Eastside at 9.
Eastside. Coach Calderon, shout out.
Congratulations. Now, do we want to be... Here's another funny question. And we'll ask this live on the air, even though we're not live. It is live because I haven't asked you this before.
We're live.
Should we do like a bottom 5?
Bottom 5? No, let's not do that. Unfortunately, y'all know who you are.
Coach Playstead's nice.
Y'all already know who you are.
Okay, so if you can't see that top to bottom one more time, at number 1, Upcountry / Low Country Lacrosse have Dorman at number 1 in the area. We have Malden at 2. Boiling Springs comes in at number 3. Christchurch, you're the only 4A team on the list, but you're repping it out at number 4. Greenville at 5. Spartanburg at 6. Burns at 7. Riverside 8. Eastside 9. And all of the question marks at JL Man at 10. I'm with it.
I like it. I think it's a nice list.
I do think
Once
it's
again,
a nice
and
list.
if
It's
you
a
don't
starting
like
point.
it, prove me wrong.
You know what?
Come out in the spring, make me eat my words.
If you have something constructive to add, throw it in the comments. Constructive.
If you have something not nice to say, you can contact Sam. He's HR. He doesn't speak English or have thumbs, so I'm sure he'll be able to help you out.
He has a loud voice, though, so he'll probably talk over you no matter what you have to say. So that's our top 10. I think personally, something that we haven't talked about, but something I would like to get into either next week or in the upcoming future is maybe talking about like a preseason player, not rankings, but like let's formulate a Team 1, Team 2, Team 3, like all-state kind of deal preseason.
Okay, like top performers, all like that, more individual.
Look at, who we expect, and we can pull up numbers all day. You know guys from coaching. I know guys from coaching. And so hopefully some of the guys we know and some of the guys that we would want to formulate a team will not be on max preps already. And maybe we pull out some names that guys don't know. But I think that'd be a fun way to get people talking.
All upcountry, first team and second team.
Exactly.
I like it.
Like a preseason, first team, second team, third team, all upcountry. I think it'd be fun. I think it'd be cool to get the people listening.
Going.
I don't know, man. Is there anything else that we should touch on? We talked about Fountain Inn being a JV to varsity program, and that's exciting.
I think that's talk about sleepers just in general. It's the last thing, closers. But the sleeper pick. I think Fountain Inn's one of those teams. We picked on them for not having a varsity last year, but. Once again, I think Coach Pratt has put that team in a position, and their coaching staff last year have kind of put them in a position to where it's like, it's up in the air.
Oh, yeah.
They're either going to go, 3-12, and it's going to be a rough year, or, and to be honest, just to be completely honest, anything 500 or above is a win for them.
Sure.
It's their first inaugural season as a varsity. Failure is your best teacher, so. You're going to lose some. You're going to lose some that you probably should have won, but I think it's going to be, I'm excited. I'm excited and hopeful that they knock some teams down that they shouldn't.
Cade is the name from Hillcrest that I was trying to remember earlier that transferred to Fountain Inn. He's going to be leading that defensive unit. And
Hayes Corsetti was at he was at Woodmont.
Hayes is a baller.
Yeah, he was one of those.
He's a 28 kid that I've got on my watch list. I haven't published them yet, but. I'm looking at my 28s, looking at making like a watch list of sorts for kind of every graduating class. You heard it here first on the podcast if you're still tuned in and listening. It looks like our secondary camera cut off, so.
Heck yeah.
I don't know what happened with that, but hopefully it got that in. If not, we'll live to.
You'll have to just read that.
will live. You'll have to read it and listen. So we're here at LowLax in Greenville. If you need any equipment for your season, come in and buy it here. Coach Playstead has everything you can need from boys and girls, sticks, gloves, helmets, shoulder
stocking
pads.
stuffers for the holidays, all types of good
Stocking stuffers for the holidays, mesh kits.
Mouthpieces.
Oh my goodness. Please everyone come buy 2 mouthpieces from Coach Playstead.
With a strap so they don't lose it.
Get the mouthpieces, get the mesh kits. I can string them for you. Find me on Instagram. I'm only going to charge you $20 or $25. Any other plugs that we need to hit while on our way out?
As always, Sam, he's a good boy.
Sam, the good boy of the shop, he's been holding it down for us. If you need anything, please come to LowLax. Coach Coleman's a great guy. He'll take care of you. He'll get you right. He won't rob your pockets.
Mike.
I'm Kyle Fletcher with Upcountry Lacrosse. He's Coleman Playstead with Lowcountry Lacrosse. And this was the Upcountry High School preview.
Let's go.
We'll see you guys on the field soon. If you need anything from us, please don't hesitate to reach out. If you want us to pop into a practice or something this upcoming preseason, let me know. I've got some free time to play with here and there. I still don't know what the season will look like, but we're going to figure it out together. So thanks for listening.
Yep.
Sorry I just yelled at you. We'll come back. We'll be back here soon. Thank you for letting us run it down.
Oh, of course.
Let's flip the table and go home.
Yeah, and if you guys need to find this on your own, just go to espn.com/Upcountry Lacrosse. You'll find us right there. Sure.
Right there.
Right there.
On the homepage.